Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for playing outside with me today, our yoga practice. We're going to focus a little bit on the hips tonight. So I invite you to get on your mat and take a comfortable seat and close your eyes. And we'll take in 3 deep breaths. On that final deep breath, bring the hands together in front of the heart to Anjali Mudra. And welcome in one more breath. And gently bow forehead to fingers. And release the hands to the legs. Welcome. We're going to start off on our back. So stretch out on your sticky mat, all over body stretch. And then hug your knees into your chest and rock side to side, massaging the back just a little bit. Good. And then you're going to come back to center and stretch your right leg high to the sky. And we're going to do hip flossing here. So you'll turn your right thigh in and out. Just thinking about the top of your thigh bone settled in the hip socket, and you turn it in and out. So the thigh is initiating the action, and the foot is just reacting. Okay? So it's a tiny movement. We'll switch sides. Left leg now. You turn the thigh in and out. And notice the difference between the sides. If one side feels a little stickier or tighter as you rotate the thigh in and out. And then release the leg down. Reach right leg to the sky, externally rotate that thigh, and bring right ankle over left thigh. Draw the legs in, and pressing left thigh into hands, resisting the pull of the hands, draw the legs towards the chest. And you draw that lower belly in ever so gently. And then maybe lean towards that outer left hip. You got it. And that should spice things up. Come back to center. Release. And you're going to switch sides. Left leg lifts. Externally rotate that thigh. Ankle over right thigh. And draw the legs in just so you can reach. Now, if you can't reach your right thigh, you could always use a belt or a tie and lasso the back of the thigh, making arms a little longer, okay? Always options. Press the thigh into the hands, draw the lower belly in a little bit, and lean towards that outer right hip. Good. So we're leaning away from the bent leg. The top bent leg. They're both bent, aren't they? Your brain gets fried with these hip openers sometimes. And come back to the center and release. Okay, one more here on the floor. You're going to widen the feet as wide as a sticky mat. Knees go to the right. And for windshield wipers, stretch left arm alongside the ear. Tailbone scooping, belly drawing in, and lengthen from the belly to the fingers. Good. And then come back through center. Knees go to the left. Right arm extends. Good. And this left arm, you can rest on the belly, out to the side, whatever suits your fancy. Good. And then come back to the center. One final squeeze of knees to chest. And then we'll roll to our side and come all the way up to table. Okay. So here in table position, knees beneath hips, hands beneath shoulders. Exhale, round the spine, drawing belly in. And inhale, lift the chest and the sit bones. Exhale, round. Inhale through the nose. 2 more. Exhale, round. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. And inhale, open. And settle in table. Okay, I'm going to do some interesting hip flossing here in table. So your weight comes a little more to your left knee and left hand. And you're going to lift your right leg up behind you. And then very slowly rotate your thigh so your knee faces towards me, and draw the knee to elbow and back down again. So you make little circles with this right knee, so to speak. Okay, we're going to do 5 total in this direction, and then pause and go in the opposite direction. So you're working with your range of motion, okay? It might be a tiny little circle down here, or it might be a great big circle. And release. And we'll try the other leg. So you're going to move your left leg behind you. It's in that little bent position. Rotate the thigh so the knee points away from you. Then draw knee to elbow, forward and down. Good. 3 more of these. So nice to play yoga outside. All the pretty flowers and birds. Good. And 1 more for good luck. Pause and switch directions. And notice left hip versus right. Is one side easier? Sometimes I feel like I've got 2 different halves. 1 more. Good. And back to table. Now from table, let's just round once, tailbone scooping, head heavy. Inhale, open, and back to table. From table, soften between the shoulder blades. Lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Good. In downward dog, lift your right leg high to the sky. And here we're just going to open up that top hip, bend the leg, and reach that right knee high for the sky. And then exhale, release. Left leg now, we're going to lift that up high. You're going to bend the left leg at the knee. Open up that left hip. And even look under your left arm. So I'll look away from you. And then unwind. Good. And back to table. Okay, from table, something slightly different. For a moment, move the inner thighs back. And when you move the inner thighs back, notice how the lower back arches, how the hips broaden. That's important. Now scoop the tailbone. Notice how your belly tones, your hips become more narrow, and the lower back really elongates. Okay, so remembering those actions, what they feel like. Groins move back, it broadens the hips. Tailbone scoops, lengthens lower back. So from here, you're going to carefully extend your right leg behind you, bend the leg. Now from here, first move the inner thighs back, and bring your right knee so that it's in line with your hip. Okay, so first you have to move the groins back to get the opening in the hip. Then you have to scoop the tailbone and draw the belly in. You can stay here, or you can extend the leg straight. Bend the leg, knee comes down. Okay, we'll try the next side. Harder than it looks. So move the groins back, lift your left leg, and you want your knee relatively in line with your hip. I'm coming forward a little. With the foot flexed, draw the lower belly in. You can stay here, or maybe you extend that left leg straight in line with the hip. How am I doing? Bend the leg and lower the knee. Wonderful. Child's pose. One more breath. And then inhale to table. From table position, you're going to lift your right leg behind you, okay? Thigh squeeze, lower belly draws in, and then spider walk those left fingers forward. Maybe you lift that left arm up off the ground. Good. And then release. We switch sides. Left leg lifts behind you. Thigh squeeze, belly draws in, spider walk those fingers forward, and then maybe lift the right arm. And your head is always an extension of the spine. I turn to look at you guys, but don't look at me. Listen, maybe watch the video first, and keep your head in line with the spine. And release. So from here, toes curled under, walk the hands back to the knees, and very slowly lift those knees away from the floor, tiptoe pose. From here, start to come into a forward bend. You lean into the fingers, hips lift, heels root. And stretch those legs just as straight as can be. And 3 breaths here. And on the next inhalation, bring hands to hips, shoulder blades draw towards each other, root from the hips down through the feet, and come all the way up. All right. I'm going to have you turn to face me for a moment. Now, this is really nice if you have a wooden or a linoleum floor, maybe a blanket, what I'm going to show you next. I'm just going to show you on my sticky mat. Not as effective, but I wanted to play yoga with you outside, so I had to make a little adjustment here. So what I'm going to have you do is bend your legs. Now as you bend your legs, move the inner thighs back like we did in table, chest forward, okay? From this position, imagine you have a blanket underneath the right foot, and you're going to very slowly slide your right foot out, and then draw the leg back in and come to standing, okay? So you bend at the hips, the chest is forward, you imagine sliding your right foot out on a blanket, so much better with a blanket, and then draw that foot in and come to standing, okay? Bending again, chair pose, little mini chair, you slide that right foot out, and notice when I'm here, I have weight in my heel, my knee is over my toes, not beyond, and then you push through this supportive heel and come all the way back up, okay? 3 times to the other side. Bend the legs, slide your left leg out. Your weight is really on that bent supporting leg. I could pick this foot up if I wanted to, okay? See, my torso is all lined up over this leg. And then slide the foot in, okay? 2 more times. Saying okay a lot. Slide that leg out. Torso in line with your supportive leg. Push through the heel to come up. 1 last time. Little mini chair. Slide that foot out. If you have a blanket, even better on a slippery floor. And slide back in. Okay, you guys are great to pretend with me. So from that position, take your right heel to your left ankle. So I'll mirror you. Little attitude. Get a little attitude going on. And know that this isn't where you want to be for tree. But we want to fire those outer hip muscles we've been working. So imagine both feet were on blankets and you try to slide those feet in, firing the inner thighs, the outer hip muscles, and hands to undulate. Nice and simple. And release. Okay, other side. Left ankle to inner heel, left ball of foot on floor. Nice and simple. A little bit of attitude. And then squeeze the inner thighs towards each other, engage your outer hips, and feel as if you were being zipped up the front. And this time, let's even extend the arms high to the sky. Good. And then release. Wonderful. We'll try 1 more round. This round, you're supporting left leg. Lift the foot an inch off the floor. Draw the leg into the hip socket and root. So we're very integrated and steady. Now, if this was steady for you with the ball of the foot on the floor, bring foot to inner thigh, I should say inner shin, maybe inner thigh. I'm going right for it. And once you're here, hug the inner thighs towards each other. Work the outer hips. And as you work the outer hips, you draw that belly in and up. Maybe the arms extend up overhead. Tree pose. Good. All about the hips tonight. And slowly release, or maybe quickly. Okay, so supporting leg. Right leg forward, lift the foot a little, draw the leg into socket and root. And then you'll take left foot to either ankle, shin, or thigh. You're gonna hug the thighs towards each other, work the outer hips, and zip yourself up, so to speak, the front line of the body. And as you're ready, stretch the arms overhead. Now you could do this, remember, with a chair right beneath your hand, up against the wall with that supportive hand, or even your back against the wall. Heck, you could do this on the floor, lying down on your back. Many different ways to do tree. And release. Wonderful. Take a nice wide stance. Hands to the hips. Lift the chest high to the sky, shoulders drop back. And on the exhale, slowly bow forward, hands to the floor. And you can readjust your feet, making them wider. Take 2 more breaths here. Now you guys keep going. I'm just lifting my head so you can hear me. But you want to make sure feet are pressing down, and it's as if your feet were on 2 blankets. You're squeezing them towards each other, drawing that lower belly in and making the leg bones long from hips to feet. And then on the inhale, maybe you bring your feet a little bit closer, but keep them wide nonetheless. Hands to hips to come up. Okay, from here, triangle pose. Turn, again I'll mirror. Turn your left leg in, right leg open. And you're lined up, right heel to left arch. Arms extend. Now both legs are strong and steady, as if you were pulling on tight yoga pants from the ankles all the way up to the thighs. Reach that right arm out, and maybe you bring hand to shin, maybe to the base of the shin, maybe all the way down to the floor. Okay? And you take a breath. So we're just going for the basic shape and form of the pose. We'll get into more details another time. Now from here, inhale, root from hips to feet to come all the way up. Turn left leg in, or right leg for you, left leg open. Hug the legs towards each other, drawing the muscles up from the feet to the hips. Reach out over that left leg, and maybe hand comes to shin, maybe lower shin, never the knee, maybe to the ground. Breathe in all those beautiful flowers. The sun is setting here with me. One more breath. Remember, you can look at the floor if that feels better for your neck. You can look at me. You can even stick your tongue out at me or up at the fingers overhead. On the inhale, root from hips to feet to come up. Feet parallel, and then fingertips touching, bend the knees, step or jump. Okay. Leaning onto your left leg, arms in a little bit of a T. Good. Turn left palm to the sky and start to angle the arms as you lift this right leg. Good. So the thighs hugging towards each other, right toes spreading, belly drawing in and up, as if you had a string lifting you up towards the sky. And release. Okay, one more time. Arms to a T, lean into that right leg a little, and as you bring your left leg out, you can keep your toes on the floor. Wherever you are in your balance, work there. Maybe over time you lean a little more to your right. You lift that right arm a little higher, and then the left leg might float. Drawing the belly in and up. One more breath. And release. Wonderful. Take that wide stance. Arms extend. We go back to triangle. Turn left leg in, right leg open. Hug the legs towards each other so you feel strong and steady. And from triangle, we're going to fly to the moon. So you shift to the right, and you bring your right hand to wherever it lands. Now, if your hand was only coming to your shin, or even up on your thigh, you're going to want to block underneath your right hand, okay? So whether your right hand is on the floor or you're using a block, bring left hand to hip, bend the front leg and come to the starting point, okay? Right hip is over the ankle, and this hand is forward and wide. You push into the hand and the foot, and like an elevator, you go directly up. Once you're up, the work we've been doing, engage that bottom hip. Draw the belly in and up as if you were drawing up a zipper, and then extend that top arm. And this is very interesting outside. I'm going to try to look up to the sky, but if the clouds are moving, it'll be an interesting balancing position. Good. From here, we go right to a forward bend. So you're going to look at the floor, left hand down, left foot meets right, and then step to a high lunge. From the high lunge, we'll get fancy. Walk your hands to the middle, turn your toes to face me. Hands to hips, shoulder blades on back to come up. All right, last side. You're going to turn your left leg in. I did it again. Right leg in, left leg open. Legs engage. And then you reach out, come into triangle. So remember, and I'll show you with this side, if your hand isn't getting to the floor, hamstrings just might be a little tight right now. We haven't had a great big warm up. So don't worry, use a block. Then you come into the starting point. Remember, starting point, hip is over ankle. Hand is forward and wide. Then push through the foot, push through the hand. Lift all the way up. Engage that supporting hip. Good. So it's almost like squeezing the bottom buns. And then extend top arm to sky. One more breath. Good. And to come out of it, forward bend. You simply bring hand to floor, foot to floor, and pause. 3 breaths here. You're doing great. And on your next inhale, bring hands to hips, shoulder blades on back, lift the sides of the neck. And come all the way up. Now as you come up to standing, I'm going to get you to move into a little chair pose. So from here, you're going to bend your legs, and as you bend your legs, hands to thighs. As the hands come onto the thighs, you're going to take a breath, and slowly from here, arms extend up, and keeping your right leg bent, slide the left foot back, okay? And you can stay here, perfectly wonderful. Or you're going to gently bring your chest and arms a little more forward and lift that back leg up away from the ground. You can keep supportive leg nice and bent, so hips are square. But engage your outer hips as we've been doing. Draw that lower belly in, and maybe over time you stretch supportive leg straight. Come back to chair. Good. Come up. We're going to switch sides. You're going to bend the legs. Bring your weight onto your left leg a little more. And you're going to slide the right foot back. You can stay here working on hips square. Or drawing the belly in. You're going to lean your chest forward a little more. And then maybe lift the back leg. If you're doing okay, reach the chest forward a little more. Lift the back leg a little higher. Squeeze the thighs, draw the belly in and up. Good, I'm losing it. This is my tough side. I've got to really work my buns and outer hips here, as my arch went into retirement a long time ago. Good. And come all the way up. Fabulous. So one more time. We're going to bend the legs, little chair. Weight comes to the right foot, slide left foot back. Chest forward. Back leg up. Squeeze the thighs. You can stay here or hinging at the hips, chest more parallel to the floor. Extend fully from belly out through fingers, belly back through toes, and then back to chair. And up. That's such a hard one for me. Last one. Legs bend, arms to chair. Weight on the left leg, slide the foot back. Chest forward. Lift the leg as you're ready. Oh, see, I gotta work that outer hip. Gotta strengthen my glutes to help strengthen my arch. Good. And then back through chair, all the way up. Wonderful, you made it. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, lengthen the spine forward. And on the exhale, step back, plank pose. Good. So from plank pose, keep the sides of the waistline lifting, lower belly toned. One more breath. And then lower the knees as knees come down. Chest forward. Arms bend, those elbows staying close to the ribs. Good. And come into Sphinx. Now readjust a little so I have mat once again. As you come into Sphinx pose, the elbows beneath the shoulders, hands shoulder distance wide, and we'll keep feet hip distance. Press the tops of the feet down, look back towards your belly button, waistline moving back, the back broadening, but the whole time your toes are spreading. And as those pinky toes spread, the outer shins hug in. And then scoop the tailbone. Chest moves forward, heart opens, head lifts. One more time. Feet press down, forearms press. Look towards that belly button as if you were getting a bear hug from behind. Your waistline moves back. Your back broadens. And then scoop the tailbone. Chest opens. Shoulder blades drop towards each other and down the back. Good. And then from here, hands next to the chest. On the inhalation, lift head and shoulders. Draw those shoulder blades towards each other. And sweep the chest forward and up, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then lower the knees to the floor, rest in child's pose. Wherever you are, make sure your forehead's resting on something. You can stack your hands one on top of the other and rest forehead on hands, pillow, block, and take 3 breaths. And on the inhalation, slowly come up to seated. And as you come up to seated, we're going to transition to our back. And as you come down to your back, come into an all-over body stretch. Much nicer. Hug the legs into the chest and rock side to side. I'm going to take out my little hair barrette so I stop getting poked. I would suggest you do the same. Come back to center, release the legs. Okay, something slightly different here. I'm going to get you to cross your left ankle on top of your right, as if you were doing a simple cross-legged here on the floor. You're going to take your hands and see if you can reach down and hold the tops of your feet. If you can't, you can hold the shins, okay? So maybe you find the tops of the feet. Feet press into hands, hands draw the feet towards the hips, and you hug your legs into the chest. So nice for the lower back. We'll take one more breath. And then slowly release. You're going to take right ankle on top of left, just like you're doing simple cross-legged. Hands reach down for the foot that's there. Feet press into hands, hands draw, heels towards hips, and you hug the legs into the chest. And then slowly release. From here, you're going to extend your right leg forward, hug left leg in. And just to open up and release the outer hip some more, you're going to very slowly roll onto the outer right hip. Cross that left leg over and open up left arm out into a T. Good. Now there are different little tricks you can do here. You can use this right elbow to press down, lift the torso a little, and twist from the right ribs. And that'll settle the left shoulder more towards the floor. Running into flower pots. Remember, for a very intense twist, you look out over your left fingers. Less intense. Look out over the right. And come back to center. We'll switch. Hug right leg into the chest. And then cross. Sometimes I like to lift my hips a little and then roll onto that outer left hip. Makes it a little bit easier. Navigating flower pots again. Good. So now for most people, it's very challenging to get both your shoulder and knee to touch the floor. So don't even worry about it. But if this leg is causing you discomfort in knee or hip, you can place a block or some height underneath it so it's a little less intense. And then slowly come back to center. Hug the legs into the chest. One more breath. And then an all-over body stretch. Legs forward, arms overhead. Curl the toes, squeeze the fists, squeeze the ones, make a face. And on the count of 3, we'll let it go with a sigh. 1, 2, 3. Shavasana, you've made it. So hopefully your hips have been worked. Arms extend alongside the body and come into a comfortable position. And close your eyes. And as you rest here, encourage the whole body to be heavy. Softening the soles of the feet and relaxing the toes. Relax calves, backs of knees, thighs and hips. And as those hips settle, relax the belly, the chest, the neck and the shoulders. Relax upper arms, inner elbows, forearms and palms. And then relax the whole head, softening the face, relaxing the jaw. And just sink into this deep state of rest. 5 more breaths. And welcome to stay a little bit longer. But if you're short on time today, just wiggle toes and fingers. Gently bend the legs, pulling to your side. And pause for a moment on your side. And gently using the hands, press all the way up to seated. So thank you so much for playing with me tonight out on my deck, a little bit of yoga. I look forward to playing with you again and seeing you on your yoga mat. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Namaste. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you liked it and found it helpful. If you did, please click the like button below. If you'd like to stay up to date with my latest happenings, check out my website, irenamiller.com, and you can subscribe for my email newsletter list there, or just look around, check out my blog. If you'd like to see my other videos, click over here, and better yet, not to miss a video, subscribe to my channel, click up above, and all my social media links can be found below. Thank you for watching. Namaste.